Hi everyone, I'm CaliKim. Welcome to my garden. Happy October. Today I'm sharing with you October's 5 must-plant vegetables. For a lot of you, the growing season might be winding down. However, don't let the fact that winter is approaching stop you from growing your own fresh veggies. With a little creativity, you can still keep on growing your own food indoors. I bet you there's 3 different camps of gardeners. Those of you who are saying everything's put away, shop's closed, I'm in for the winter, we'll see you in spring. Or maybe camp number 2 is I know you can grow veggies indoors, but I just don't want to. And maybe you're in camp number 3 saying, I'm very excited, but I have absolutely no idea how to grow your veggies indoors. Well, that's what I'm going to share with you today is how to get a very simple indoor garden started so you can still be harvesting those fresh, delicious veggies that you've been used to all summer long inside when it's too cold to grow outside. Now, even here in Southern California, we can actually grow all winter long. But I absolutely love having the convenience of some simple vegetables growing inside. So I'm making dinner on those cold, rainy evenings. I can just pop over to the corner and harvest some veggies for our dinner. Now, at the end of the video, I'm going to take you inside and show you my really simple setup so that you know exactly how to get yours going indoors too. So let's jump in. All the vegetables I'm sharing with you today can be grown in containers in a small space. So you need containers that are at least 6 inches deep, with the exception of one, which I'll share with you in just a moment. You can go even smaller, like these little 4-inch containers if you just want to grow a few of these vegetables. But the CaliKim 1 gallons work really well for the size that we're going to be doing. And you're going to need yourself some potting mix. Now, I like to use my indoor seed starting mix, which you can watch my video on that. And it's made up of coco coir, vermiculite, and worm castings. So it's got the nutrients that your plants need in order to grow and really thrive indoors. But it is a soilless mix, so it does help cut down on the fungus gnats in the house. And also you can make it yourself and save a lot of money over buying those bagged mixes at the big box stores. Imagine yourself having a nice, delicious garden fresh salad in the wintertime. So the first crop we're going to plant now for October to harvest throughout the winter is lettuce, the quintessential vegetable to grow for most gardeners. Now, the key to growing your veggies indoors is to keep it small. And lettuce is definitely one of those vegetables that you can grow in a nice compact container. These are my 1 gallon CaliKim Smart Pots. And the lettuce leaves are absolutely beautiful and ones that you can harvest time after time again during the winter months. Super easy to plant either in 6 packs, like you've been used to starting seeds indoors and then transfer into a larger container so you have more salad, or you can plant it directly in the little CaliKim 1 gallons and then grow yourself a beautiful little mini winter salad station like mine. So these are seeds from my indoor garden seed collection. It's just newly updated with brand new, fresh, fun varieties for wintertime. And there's 11 compact varieties to take the guesswork out of it and to make it easy for you to get started. The prize head is a gorgeous purple tinged leaf lettuce. So with lettuce, all you have to do is just sprinkle it over the surface of the soil. It is one of the easiest veggies to start. So if you're a beginner, start with lettuce and you will be so happy to be harvesting your own fresh salad station indoors in about 6 weeks. So once it grows for about 2 to 4 weeks, it's going to look something like this in your 6 packs. Then you can easily transplant it into a 1 gallon, just like I showed you how to do in the transplanting video. So you don't need to cover your lettuce seeds. They like light in order to germinate, especially indoors. You don't have to worry about the birds picking them out or anything like that. So just keep the top of the soil nice and moist, especially while they're germinating. Then after your lettuce seeds germinate and get a little bit taller, you can start watering from the bottom by pouring water into the bottom of the tray, allowing the Smart Pot to soak up from the bottom. It's an aerated fabric, so it will soak up, keep your lettuce leaves nice and hydrated so you have a good salad station going. And watering from the bottom also helps prevent fungus gnats, which is usually a big problem for indoor gardeners. Just don't overwater and you should be good to go on the fungus gnat issue. Vegetable number 2 to plant in October are tomatoes. I'm not talking big giant tomatoes like you'd be growing in the summertime outside. I'm talking small, compact, dwarf tomatoes. Because remember, what is the key to growing inside? To keeping it small and keeping it easy. So Tiny Tim, a lot of you know I grow Tiny Tims. They're a dwarf tomato. They grow to about 2 feet tall. They're a small little cherry tomato, so they really are perfect for indoor growing. Now here I've got some started in my CaliKim 1-gallon Smart Pot. And by the way, I've got an indoor garden kit too that is perfect to get your indoor garden set up. You can grab that for 25% off right now with the code CaliKim25. So this little Tiny Tim is just starting to get little flowers. So what I like to do is grow a couple in my 1-gallon and then transplant it into a 5-gallon Smart Pot to grow to full size indoors, and you'll be harvesting off it in the wintertime. Super easy to get seeds started, and these are also in my indoor garden seed collection. I like to start them in smaller containers, not directly in the 1-gallons. So typically I'll start them in little 6-packs, or these little 4-inch pots work great for that too. And once they get about 3 to 4 inches tall, then you can transplant them into a 1-gallon. And once they get about 6 inches tall, like the one in my 1-gallon right now, you can transplant them into a 5-gallon and grow them under grow lights indoors. So I'm just popping 4 seeds or so in my little 4-inch pot. And I am covering these really lightly with some soil, just sprinkling a little bit over the top, just so the seeds are covered. Because you know these seeds are really tiny. Kind of tamp it down a little bit. Give it a little spray with water. Tomatoes are a warm weather vegetable, so you do want to have them in a spot in your house that's around, I'd say 65 to about 80 degrees. Put them in the warmer spot, then we'll put the lettuce in the cooler spot under our grow lights. We have our salad planted, we have some tomatoes to top our salad. Now let's plant another delicious salad topper, easy veggie to grow inside, and that is Tom Thumb peas. Now when you think of the word Tom Thumb, what do you think of? Small and tiny, and that's exactly what these peas are. They're perfect for indoor growing. They're the cutest little plant you've ever seen. They only grow to about 6 to 8 inches tall, and you'll be amazed at all the peas you can get off this delicious, small, compact vegetable. It's so much fun to grow these. So I'm just gonna pop maybe 4 seeds here in the soil. Just kind of poke them down in the soil. They're very easy to plant. In fact, this is a really fun project to do with your kids. Give them their own little 1-gallon and give them the choice of any of the vegetables in the indoor garden seed collection, and I guarantee it, they'll pick one and enjoy eating vegetables that much more. Now I always like to pop a tag in so I know exactly what is growing. Peas germinate very quickly, and they are a cool weather vegetable, so they're gonna really enjoy temperatures under 75. But when it's around that temperature, you're gonna see them germinate in about 3 to 5 days, very quickly. And believe me, you are gonna love harvesting all these vegetables from your indoor garden, topping your salads with them, and having those delicious veggies to eat when it's way too cold to grow outside. It's so much fun. We have our fresh salad. Now for vegetables number 4 and 5, we need something to really punch up the flavor of our winter veggies. And for that, we're gonna grab it right from the garden. So you can use whatever you have growing in your garden right now, as long as you have some fresh basil. I'm going to take a cutting. I'm going to follow this long stem down and take a cutting about 2 or 3 sets of leaves down. And this is what we're going to grow indoors in the winter. So don't let the fall and winter pass you by before you take a cutting of your basil and get it ready to propagate or root inside for winter growing. Super, super easy to do this, and you'll have a free, endless supply of plants throughout the wintertime. So what I'm doing now is just removing the bottom leaves from my basil plant here. And you can also grow basil from seed like I have here, but propagating gets you started that much sooner, and you're harvesting your fresh basil even quicker. So just put it into this little jar of water, and I usually like to add a couple drops of the Vermistera Vitality. You don't have to do this, but it just helps it root a little bit quicker. It's a natural root hormone, and you'll have really nice healthy roots in no time. So put it in this water, and then I put it on my kitchen windowsill out of direct sunlight. And in a couple of weeks, you're gonna have some beautiful basil roots coming out of the bottom. Now this one here I've been growing on my windowsill for probably several months, and it's definitely ready to be planted in a little cup of water. So let me show you these roots here. This hasn't even gotten that much light, and look at how well the roots have grown. So what I'm gonna do now is show you how to plant it in a little pot of soil. Now if you have a basil stem with just a few roots, all you need to do is just make a little hole here in your little pot of soil and put your basil stem in there. But because my roots are so large, I'm actually gonna dump out some of the soil so they all fit in here. Just pop it in my little pot. You can also grow this in a 5-gallon container if you wish as well. I'm going to backfill it here with a little bit of my seed starting mix, my soil. And then I put this on my windowsill, again, out of direct sunlight till the roots get established in this small pot. And you'll know they're established when you kind of tug on it and there's a little bit of resistance, and that means they're growing well and really getting settled here in their new home. When this gets a little bit larger, what you can do is transplant it over to a 1-gallon pot. Your plant will have room to spread out and grow, and you'll have a lot more basil leaves to harvest. So you can grow lots of different varieties of basil. I have the Italian large leaf in the indoor garden seed collection. And imagine your own little herb garden right inside on your windowsill. In fact, in my new book, The 10-Minute Gardener, I have a whole 10-minute tip on how to create yourself a whole indoor garden herb station. Now, my book's not coming out until later this winter, but you can pre-order it over at CaliKimGardeningHome.com. We'll send you 2 freebies as a thank you for your pre-order, and we really appreciate you supporting our business. Vegetable number 5 to grow in October is actually an herb again, and that is chives. I absolutely love chives. It's probably one of my favorite herbs to grow. I know you're gonna love it too. Very versatile. Scrambled eggs, sandwiches, salads, soups. The sky's the limit with chives to really pump up the flavor. And for this one, you can also already use chives that you have growing either in your garden beds or in your containers. And let me share why. Chives are a perennial. They come back year after year. They're super hardy. A lot of times they grow in colder weather, outside in very cold weather. So if you're in a southern garden, you can definitely keep growing them outdoors. But they grow in clumps, and you can divide them and put them in other pots and have an endless supply inside or to give away to friends. So the chives here have been growing in this pot probably for almost a year. And look at how tightly they are growing in here. So what I like to do is pull some out, just kind of by digging around the edge of a chive clump. And they're so resilient, you almost can't kill chives. So don't worry about it if you damage some of the roots. They grow back like crazy. So I'm just cutting down in my little 1-gallon pot here to pull some out. So I'm just pulling out a clump of chives, and look at how many chives are in this clump. So I'm going to separate a few of the plants here. And you can also grow chives from seed if you don't have any growing in your garden. They're super, super easy to plant just by pressing seeds into the soil, very similar to how we did the lettuce seeds and then covering them up and letting them grow. So look at how many roots are in this little chive clump. So you don't even have to be too gentle with chives. I'm going to plant maybe 4 or 5 in this little 4-inch pot. So to do this, I'm just going to poke 4 or 5 holes in here and then just drop individual little chive plants into those holes. You don't really have to worry too much about it. Just stick them in the hole. They're going to flop over at first until the roots take hold. And you can even plant them in clumps in your pots. And this would make a great little fall gift for a neighbor or friend that you'd like to grow along with you this winter. And by the way, make sure you subscribe and give us a thumbs up if you're enjoying our videos, if they've helped you at all. And also share it with a friend who wants to grow along with you this winter. Just putting in a little extra soil to kind of prop up the chives. And in a week or 2, the roots will take hold. They'll get nice and established, and you can either grow them in this little container all winter or transplant them into a larger 1-gallon so you have a lot of chives. Look how many chives there are still left in this small little clump I pulled out of my 1-gallon. So you could plant multiple little small pots to have growing all over your house. Would look really pretty too in the wintertime. And also the green will really give you a lift when it's too cold to grow outside. Now that we have all 5 of our veggies planted, I want to show you my indoor setup so you know exactly how to grow yours inside all winter. Now your indoor setup should be kept very simple, especially if it's your first time. So you definitely don't have to have as many grow lights as I have. Keep it simple to start with a very easy clamp light. This is my favorite basic light. I also show how to do this in my new book, The 10-Minute Gardener. So it's basically a clamp light you can get at any hardware store. It does have a special grow light bulb, and I'll put links to all this in the video description. It's just attached to this PVC little pole here in a gallon milk jug filled halfway with sand, clamped to the light. You've got your plant underneath. Now the beauty of this is it's great for a small little pot, but you can move the clamp light up and down the PVC pole to get it the correct distance from the light. So generally speaking, you want your plants to be about 2 to 3 inches from the light. So as your plant grows, you can adjust the height of the clamp light to fit the height of your plant. Here we've got your basic shop light and the same concept where you've got PVC poles and milk gallon jugs with little S hooks and chains, and the clamp light is suspended over the plants with the milk jugs and PVC poles. The milk jugs with sand acts as a weight to keep the lights in place. So what I do is group plants with similar growing conditions together. So for example, this cabinet back here will be my cool weather veggies. We'll put our lettuce on here. Now, the lettuce that I already have growing doesn't need to be quite as close to the light because it's a nice big hardy plant and it's going to keep on growing even if it's about 3 to 4 inches away. However, the ones we just planted do need to be very close to the light. So what I've done is I've raised it up here with a simple little shoebox, cover it with a cloth so it's nice and pretty for indoor growing here in my living room. These are the Tom Thumb peas. And as soon as they germinate, you want them to have this bright, intense light so that they don't get leggy and they grow nice and strong and sturdy stems for your indoor garden. And right next to that, we're going to put our other cool weather vegetable we planted today, and that is our price head lettuce. And this is to avoid legginess, and so you have beautiful lettuce plants that look something like this in about 6 weeks that you can harvest from your indoor garden. Now for our warm weather vegetables, our basil and our tomato, it is just a bit of a juggling act right now because I still have my fall seedlings going here on my grow light shelf. It's just too hot right now to plant them outside, but I am going to put them over here in a separate section than my cool weather plants, because what I can do is when the weather gets cold outside and it's not warm enough in the house, I can actually put a little heat mat under my warm weather vegetables indoors to help them grow faster and to give them optimal growing conditions. On the other hand, when it's too hot right now and my cool weather vegetables are growing very slowly, just keep that in mind. If your house is over 80 degrees, it is going to be slower growth, and it's helpful to put a small little fan in here to kind of cool things off and also helps cut down on the fungus gnats. So as soon as all these are planted outside, we'll be filling this up with my indoor warm weather indoor growing station here. And if you want a larger setup, I do recommend this shelf light setup here. There's 5 different shelves that you can grow on, and my little tiny Tim that I just planted here, I can pop that right up here until it germinates because it's very close to the light, and then as it grows I can transplant it and move it down to lower shelves. So I've got shelves that are close for little tiny seedlings, shelves that are farther away from the light for larger seedlings, and because these are all suspended on S hooks, you can even raise and lower the height of the light to accommodate your growing plants. So it's really a quick and simple setup. If you're intimidated at how to set grow lights up, no worries, you can check out this video for all the how-tos. I'm curious, after watching this video, has anyone decided to give this a shot? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you next time in the garden.